Hello, this is an I Am Kitty Hollywood. Now, today's review is of a film that falls a little bit outside my entirely self-imposed time bracket, and it's MGM's 1973 wildcard, Westworld. It is produced by Paul Lazarus III, it's written and directed by Michael Crichton, the music is by Fred Karlin, and the art direction is by Herman Blumenthal. It stars Richard Benjamin, James Brolin, and Yul Brynner. It's about two guys who go to a top-of-the-line, live out your Wild West fantasies with the help of robots theme park. Nothing can go wrong. It does ensues.
Even so, the snakes are programmed never to hit on a strike. Was the guest injured?
His minor puncture wounds.
Inexcusable to injure a guest. Pick up that snake for a total post at once, and check all the snake central mechanisms tonight during the repair period. Doesn't anything work around here?
Crichton had first envisaged Westworld as a novel, but quickly realised that it would really only work as a film. He's spoken about the way in which he saw that the fantasies that the Delos theme park were offering were fantasies from not history or from literature, but from the world of movies, and so in that way it really had to be a film. He shopped it off to a number of studios. They all said, namely because he wanted to direct and he hadn't directed anything before, and also it seemed like it was going to be an expensive film to make. MGM, who weren't completely going down the toilet but did kind of have one foot in the bowl, agreed to make the film. Proviso: 30 days shooting schedule and $1.3 million budget, which was peanuts, but Crichton agreed. Now, largely, I think, based on the story hook, MGM managed to cast Richard Benjamin, James Brolin, and Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner hadn't made a hit film for some time, and he was apparently very interested in the story. James Brolin, he was quite well known at this point in time, both for film and for television. And Richard Benjamin was a successful film actor who has gone on to be a very successful film director. Crichton apparently first had the idea for Westworld when visiting both Kennedy Space Center and Disneyland. At Kennedy Space Center, he was marveled at how the astronauts were able to train their bodies to such an extent that they appeared almost robot-like in their responses. And then at Disneyland, he was fascinated by the automatons in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride and how lifelike they seemed. Boom, boom. Interestingly enough, he would then go on to riff on his own theme to create Jurassic Park years later. Now, Crichton was 30 years old when he directed this film. He had very little money. He had to really creatively use all the old MGM backlots in order to create the spaces. Roman World was apparently Harold Lloyd, the silent comedian. It used his estate for the gardens. And then, interestingly, in a on-cycling fashion, Blazing Saddles apparently used the Westworld backlots in order to create it. One of the main hurdles they had to overcome, both cost and vision-wise, was the view of the world through the gunslinger's eyes. Bearing in mind this is 1973, what does a robot see when it sees? So they took it to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, and they said, yeah, we can create a pixelated image for you. It's going to cost $200,000 and it will take 9 months, which of course they couldn't do. So they went to John Whitney Jr., the son of John Whitney, who created the machine which created the spiral title sequence for Vertigo. He said, yeah, I can do it for you. It's going to cost $20,000 and take 4 months. Didn't quite come out according to schedule. They were very, very tight, but the film was able to premiere for when it was scheduled. It was a smash hit critically, box office glee. It became the MGM #1 moneymaker for that year, which is a very interesting year for films. But anyway, Michael Crichton apparently wasn't all that happy with it, but I'm okay with that. Yul Brynner is fantastic. As Crichton has said, it takes really great acting chops to both portray a robot and also to be hypnotically watchable at the same time. It's clearly an homage to Chris in The Magnificent Seven, you know, same outfit, everything, and he's extraordinary.
Why don't you make me shut up?
This film also, very interestingly, was one of the first instances in which they referenced a computer virus, the notion that something can infect the system, talking about it in the same way as one does in medicine.
Well, despite our corrections, the breakdown rate continued to climb. Then medieval world began to have trouble. Now we're seeing more Western world breakdowns. And there's a clear pattern here which suggests an analogy to an infectious disease process, spreading from one resort area to the next.
Perhaps there are superficial similarities to disease.
Westworld has really influenced so much of our pop culture. John Carpenter speaks about Westworld when talking about the creation of Michael Myers in Halloween and sort of the slow, inexorable killer. The Terminator clearly owes a huge debt to Westworld, as does Blade Runner. The Simpsons and Itchy and Scratchy have helped with the general osmosis process. And in fact, even though many people have not necessarily heard of Westworld, well, you know, HBO no doubt is going to change that for all of us. But anyway, most people are aware of the killer gunslinger robot as a concept in general. Westworld, let's be honest, is not going to win any women's rights competitions. Women in this film are really either robotic prostitutes or portrayed as silly, mature women who want to go to Roman world and have sex with a robot centurion. But it's just not that kind of film. It's a stop the killer robot and run kind of a film. It's worth watching. It's a really interesting film. So many films that were sci-fi related were coming out at this point in time. There was Logan's Run, The Omega Man, Rollerball, Capricorn 1, Soylent Green, just to name a few. And this film is very much part and parcel of that style of sci-fi film. So watch it and be glad that you didn't go to Roman world. Watch it for the way that oil-based makeup and Alka-Seltzer can create acid burn. Watch it and be freaked out at how much James Brolin and Christian Bale look like each other. And watch it for Yul. Westworld, 10 out of 10.